Oh my gosh. I feel like this whole video, I feel like is honestly ridiculous. I don't know if I'm going to post this. I say that about every single one. I don't know if I'm going to post this because I don't want it to be misunderstood or feel out of touch or anything like that. Hi, my name is Tosin, and if I haven't met you before, welcome here. As I've been getting closer to graduation and as I've been watching my career grow and as I just launch into the professional world, I've been having this really weird fear and anxiety around fame and wealth. And there's a part of me that feels like it's audacious for me to even have this anxiety, like to think that this might be a problem for me. But then there's another part of me who feels like this is really legitimate. So as we do here, let's just talk it out. I'm going to ramble for a bit, and maybe I hope that we can have a discussion about this in my direct messages or in the comment section. I have gone back and forth for my past few years as a business owner in sharing my life and withdrawing. And I would consider myself a relatively private person when it comes to my day-to-day and my relationships. But I love being really vulnerable, obviously, because I'm sitting here right now, and I love sharing my art. However, I've noticed that people definitely care about your life outside of your art, or at least for me, in my case, this is how it's been. People don't just want to see what I'm making, they also want to see what I'm doing. They want to see who my friends are, they want to see who I'm dating, they want to know what I'm thinking, they want to see what I'm up to. And I want to share, like I want to build community, I want to build relationships online, and I want to share with people what they want to know and what would serve them and be helpful to them. However, then I reached this zone and I found myself in these areas and these situations where I am building up my personal brand more than I'm building a business. I have slowly and gradually over the years been getting to a place where people will be nervous to talk to me or they'll look up to me, and that's super strange. I don't know if you've been there before where you meet somebody and they're like, oh my gosh, like I love what you do and like I'm so nervous to talk to you. And this is a very new experience for me. Up until maybe like a year ago, I would always be on the other side of that. I would always be the person who is fangirling and is just like feeling like, oh my gosh, I get to talk to this person who I admire so much. And so being the one that is the subject of admiration has been very weird, and I don't know how I feel about it. It's actually not much of a problem now because I really have been feeling like this all starts to dissolve the moment we start talking and interacting, and I'm like, you know, people start talking to me and realizing that I am nowhere near as cool as they might have thought I was, and very approachable, I hope. And so it's not so much of an issue now, but I can only see this growing, and maybe it's because of the shows that like I've been watching recently and that the world's been watching, like White Lotus and Succession. But I keep thinking about what my future might look like, and if I reach my goals, what that will mean for me in terms of how people perceive me and know me. I have always wanted to create art. I've always wanted to design things, create beauty, and add beauty to the world. That's my goal. But I can't deny that with that comes a certain level of prominence. And before, I used to almost welcome that. Like, I think many of us go through an era where we're like, you know, it wouldn't be so bad to be well known. It doesn't seem like a negative thing to just have lots of people telling you how awesome you are all the time. But getting the teeniest, tiniest, minute taste of that, I've realized that it's not necessarily what I want for myself. And again, like watching some of these shows, and again, I understand that they're fiction. However, I think there's a lot of truth to them. extreme wealth, extreme notoriety is not something I desire for myself. And I've been wondering and contending with whether or not I can reach my goals and reach the level of accomplishment in my work that I would aspire to without it having to come with all of this other stuff that it seems like it's just so entangled with it. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. I've been asking myself this question of why people care about my life outside of my art, and whether or not I should welcome that or allow it, and if so, at what point does it become too far? I've mentioned a few times some of these TV shows, and they are like a really prominent theme right now in my head, because something that White Lotus and Succession have in common is a critique of the ultra wealthy. And it feels like what media is revealing to us right now, and what even social media is revealing to us right now, as we gain more and more access to the lives and thoughts and well-beings, I guess, like knowledge of well-beings of these figures that were once so elusive in the past, is that it's not all it's cracked up to be, that wealth actually brings with it quite a bit of baggage. And I'm not one of those people who's like, money doesn't buy happiness, because I honestly kind of disagree. And I think about so many things that stress me out on the day-to-day, and how many of them could be completely resolved by having the financial means to do so. By no means am I under the impression that money itself will buy me contentment, but what money would do is pay off my student loan debt. And what money would do is get me a really beautiful apartment that I would have a lot more space in, and I wouldn't need to be doing my work, because I work from home most of the time, my work 2 feet away from my bed. And what money would buy me is the freedom to vacation when I want to, and take time off, and to gift people and treat people and be generous with my time and money to a greater extent than what I'm able to do now. And I try to practice these things now with what I do have, because I believe that what you do with little is what you will do with much. But that being said, I really do think that a lot of the things that stress me out right now would be resolved by money. I'm sure new problems would come, which is honestly what this whole verbal diary is about, but it would resolve a lot of the things that all of us walk through on the day-to-day and stress about. And this is at the forefront of everyone's minds right now. The economic climate is crazy, and almost everyone I know, we're all working like multiple jobs and just hustling so hard right now to simply make ends meet, and saving feels like a pipe dream right now. Saving up for anything in your future, it's like, how do I pay rent and buy these groceries? Talk less of like save up for this thing that I want in the future. But the season will come to an end soon, and when it does, where does that leave us all? So although I believe the money plays a role in happiness, and having enough can give you a level of comfort that can free you up to be a more content person in many ways, I also believe that money can become the root of discontentment when it gets to a certain point. And that's really what media has been revealing for me so much recently, where one would think that when you have so much money, and when you enter that realm of being a multi-millionaire, that the world's kind of your oyster, and that you can do whatever you want and buy whatever you want. But I almost feel afraid when I think about the potential of that happening to me. Like, I've never wanted to be the type of person who has to be afraid if somebody's talking to me for clout or to get something from me, or whether they're talking to me because they genuinely enjoy my company. And to worry about that feels like a nightmare, frankly. And then there's this entire element of me who thinks, wow, Tosin, the audacity that you have to even be worried about this. Like, what makes you think that you ever even have the opportunity of obtaining that much in life where this will be a problem for you? There's some experiences I've had and privileges that I've been afforded that make me objectively understand that I would be a little bit more likely than other people that I may know, or than the average American or average person, to obtain these certain levels of success or end up in a certain lifestyle. And I I sometimes feel like people are trying to encourage me, and I have a lot of sweet people in my life who will be like, Tosin, I feel like you're going to be so rich, or Tosin, I feel like your business is going to absolutely blow up one day and you're going to live this certain lifestyle. And it's well-intentioned, I believe, but after hearing that a lot, I really started to think, what if? Because it was easy before to kind of brush that off and be like, yeah, that would never happen for me. But then I started to actually think like, but what if it did though? And it's not impossible. Like, I am going to work really hard so I can achieve the goals I want to achieve. But with those goals would come all these other things. And what if I don't want that? What if I don't like that? And I don't think I would. So there's no nice bow I can tie on this or resolution, but it's just been something that's been swirling around in my head, like this fear of fame and extreme wealth. Is that a really weird one to have? It seems like something that so many people want for themselves, and it's almost like a fear of the opposite. People have a fear of failure. And again, it's not lost on me how A, audacious, and B, privileged it is for me to even be scared of this and not have to be scared of the other side of it, which is poverty. And I am scared of that too. I don't think anyone isn't. Like, everyone has that innate fear that they're not going to have enough. But I can talk myself out of that anxiety. But I guess I'm more so questioning how I can pursue my dreams without having to have these other things. And is there a certain goal that I can shoot for, or a certain level where I can hit that cusp before any of these things become a problem, before I turn into a money-hungry billionaire, or until I become the type of person who is so numb and has all the pleasures that this world could offer and is like vacationing in a tropical country and like mistreating the people who that land belongs to and the staff who's serving them, and mistreating themselves and is deeply unhappy. Like, that sounds awful. Who would want that? And it just feels like, what if that's me? What if that's me? And am I destined to become that person? Like, because I think we all have this like altruistic view of self where we believe that, well, I'd be different. Like, if I was wealthy, I'd be so generous and I would handle it the right way. But maybe I don't trust myself, because I think that if I was to obtain that material wealth, like, what makes me think that I would be better? What makes me think that I wouldn't fall into the same traps as what the people that these shows are written about and that their lives are based on? What makes me think that I wouldn't become shallow or selfish or greedy or mistreat people or lose my faith or just become this worldly version of myself that I would never want to be? I wish I could resolve this in like a nice little bow, but this is just my thoughts, raw, real, honest, and vulnerable. And I don't really have much else to add on this topic, but let me know if this is something that you have ever thought about for yourself, or if maybe some of these shows have shaken you up in any way, or if there's something else, or if you've always been thinking this way. It's a weird fear to have. My prayer for you is that you would achieve and succeed in exactly the ways that you're meant to, that you would be able to walk out and fulfill your God-given purpose and walk fully in all of your giftings, but that none of those giftings would replace what's truly important, and none of those blessings would become something that jades you as a person or enamors you with the wrong things. Thank you for spending time with me, and I'll talk to you soon.